Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. I thought I'd spend a little bit today talking about Aquaman. Yes, the only DCEU movie that is coming out this year, the only one at the end of the year, and it just feels so long. But it's really only 9 months away, right? And I thought, there was not much news about it, not much people talking about it, and a lot of you have stated that you want to know more about Aquaman. Why skipping that? Well, there's really nothing more you can say about that. They had a test screening, and most of it we've heard so far has been pretty positive about that test screening. Okay, Mario Robles had people. He heard from people that it was good. Batman News said it was good. Jeremy Conrad had people that said it was good. He actually posted quite a bit of spoilery content, which I will not link here. If you really want to see that, you can go ahead and search for that, but I will not. I won't even read it. But there's been that. So interesting in news of the like today, though, is that the first time we've ever heard of something negative about that. And this is coming from Mark Hughes, right? He's the guy on Forbes. He does a lot of articles. He went on Superhero News number 109. It's on YouTube, and I could put the link down in my description. But at the 49-minute and 10-second mark, he does say something that he has heard that there's been some negativity around the Aquaman test screening. There's things I heard that was not good. But now that's what people are saying. That's what they're getting from them, and they're going, they're going like, oh no, what's going on? It's bad. Or they're shutting him down. They're saying, Mark, well, you're a liar. It's why are you doing this hate-driven stuff? But if you really listen to it, okay, he says he's heard that there's been some good, and he's also heard that there's something bad, right? But he is pretty confident in Aquaman. He's very excited about it. This is Mark Hughes now. Mark Hughes is one of the only few reviewers who went on, and he's on Rotten Tomatoes, that gave Batman v Superman a positive review. Okay, so he's not a hater by any sense of the word. He also heard it from somebody, right? He's got people he hears from, just like Jeremy Conrad, just like Chris over at Batman News, just like Mario Robles. They all have their own sources. It's them hearing from somebody else. They haven't actually watched the film. They haven't actually watched the test screening, which is 9 months away, and it had a lot of digital effects not even put in. So there's a lot of work that probably needs to be done on the film still yet. So I take that as a grain of salt, and he kind of says that in a way in itself, but he's just telling you what he's heard. He's just being completely honest about it. And it's just up to us if we want to hear that out, if you want to pay attention to any of that, if you even care about anybody's own opinion but your own. That's the thing here. I'm still gonna watch the movie. I don't care what the Rotten Tomato score is. I've loved the movies that the critics that most of the critics don't like. I've been through movies that most of the critics loved and I didn't like. So it's all in your own opinion. So plus a test screening is one little, I'd say little, but it's an audience that's in a room, a group of people of different, kind of thoughts and whatever their likes and dislikes. And so it's a general way to figure out if they respond to the movie in any case. But we got to take that as a grain of salt once again, because look at what happened with Justice League, right? That was in the high 80s, as was reported, almost Wonder Woman scoring, and look how that turned out. I know if you loved that, hey, great for you. I liked it. I didn't love it, but there are people that didn't like it. So it's all depends on you. It's all depends on your own opinion. And this whole thing about test screenings, it's getting really crazy. It's kind of getting a little out of hand, especially if you've been following about Deadpool. Deadpool's another one. I mean, that scored. There were rumors, and people are saying that it's not good. It's a bad test screening. Steve Weintraub of Collider says no, that's false. It's really good. And Jeremy Conrad says no, that's not what I heard. Stuff like that, and and then when they came out, they publicized the scores like, oh, it got a 98, you know, or a 94. I forgot what it was, a 98 test screening. So it's really good. It's like it's better than the first one. So, you know, who do you want? I'm still gonna watch the movie. I'm still gonna watch the movie and make up my own mind. And that's all we should talk about. Which all that matters is what your opinion is. But if you really wanted to know what's going on, then that's it. That's what it is. That's what's going on. It's not just a general buzz. It's really all that that talk is coming from that little interview that Mark Hughes did. He is pretty much the only person that is saying that. Okay, so he's the only person who's saying that, and then you gotta think there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, oh, I heard from this guy, I heard from that guy. It's really let's wait, right? Let's just wait. Let's get when the movie comes out closer, we get to actually take a peek at something. You know, I would really love to see something from Aquaman. And there has been really nothing. There has been no trailer. There has been a teaser, and that was shown at San Diego Comic-Con. Of course, that was the only teaser over there that was not publicly shown. They seem to be keeping it really close to their chest. James Wan actually is keeping it really close to his chest. There was a tweet that came out. He says it's James Wan. He's probably not going to stop people from Warner Brothers Studios from meddling and things like that. And James Wan liked that little tweet. So if you look at that, yeah, sure, it's someone just liking a tweet. But if you look at that, he's probably approving, saying those words that, yeah, there's nobody coming in to my studio to meddle with my movie. This is my movie. This is my Aquaman. I'm keeping it under wraps. I'm going to release it when I feel it's best, it's time. And we can hope for the best for that. And if WonderCon has a trailer or not, we don't know. If it does, great. That'd be pretty awesome. Hopefully we can see it publicly. Hopefully it's released online. But if it's not, you know, we maybe wait a little longer for his teaser. Hopefully real soon. But that's the other thing. WonderCon, it has a lot of things going on, and people are like, there's going to be a trailer out there. The only person who actually kind of said there was going to be a big announcement is Mario Robles. Jeremy Conrad kind of said they might have something, but now Jeremy Conrad says there's nothing at WonderCon, so he's going to do something else, reveal something else with Aquaman, which is spoilery. I don't really recommend you looking at that. And Batman News also put out that the announcement, the scheduling for WonderCon, that there was really nothing going on for the Warner Brothers panel. So keep your expectations in check, because this WonderCon we may not have anything with the DC presentation. I hope there is a DC presentation. I really do. As a huge fan with no inside sources, I'm just a guy in Hawaii. I really want to see something. I want to hear more about the DCEU. That's my thing. This is my hobby, and I enjoy it, this world very much, even for its ups and downs. But I really do enjoy it, and I hope to see more of it. And speaking of Aquaman, there has been a little bit, not too much, but Zack Snyder did reveal another thing on VERO, and it came in just under the radar because it's a picture we've already seen. It is of Mera, Amber Heard as Mera on the beach, standing in the water, and we've seen that publicly open up before when they were shooting for Justice League. We've seen that already, but it's just interesting that he's posting it again. And he's clearly, I don't know if he's teasing or he's just putting bait in the water, but I have a lot of faith that maybe he's teasing for something. Something's actually coming. Something like the Snyder Cut's actually coming. Does it actually exist? Going to exist in a finished form or not? I don't know. But every time he posts something, it just gets me a lot more excited, and it just keeps my hopes and faith in check, and hoping for that big announcement that he's going to finish that. We're going to have the Snyder Cut so that us Snyder DC Extended Universe fans can finally just be at ease and finally say, we got our trilogy, we're good, and then Warner Brothers will continue on the DC Extended Universe on however they see fit. I want to talk a little bit. This is not movie news, and usually I'm just more about movies. But they had that TV show that came out on Sci-Fi Channel, right? And it's called Krypton, right? So I was able to watch the pilot just before I got on here, so it's still fresh in my mind. I'm not going to do a review on it, but the basic of it was pretty interesting. I was actually really intrigued for the most part. His accent is really heavy, so I was hoping to put on some closed captions. I couldn't really understand him too well, especially in that bar scene, but the symbol of the Superman reminds me so much of the Man of Steel Superman, and that's why it's quite shocking to see that, feeling like it's more Man of Steel. Yet when the John Williams Superman score comes in, and you're like, wait, that's kind of interesting. That it does feel like how it was in Justice League, right? We've got the Man of Steel, but we got the John Williams score to that, man. They're combining nostalgia and Man of Steel together, right? And so that was I was kind of mixed on that, but I was okay because it's a recognizable theme song for Superman. And then they added that thing in the end with the red cape with the yellow symbol, just like the regular Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman. But I just gotta believe that there's somewhere along the line, it was originally, since David Goyer was involved, originally going to be more Man of Steel than Superman the movie. And now I think because of Jeff Johns and the direction where the DC Extended Universe, I don't know how involved they are within this TV series, but I just think the direction they're going is to go back to that nostalgia factor, and that's why we're hearing that Superman, John Williams Superman music within Krypton. And that's a shame, because I really enjoy the Man of Steel, and it's a shame that we cannot get past that little level of nostalgia. We cannot get past that at all. We have to keep going back to it, and it's a shame that we can't move forward. It reminds me a little bit about some super tokusatsu shows that are in Japan, right? I don't know if you're familiar, but there's two different series that always comes up, and there's a Super Sentai series too, which is like the Japanese Power Rangers. But there's the Kamen Rider, which is the Masked Rider if you're in America, and there's Ultraman. So Ultraman has always been pretty classic, just monster fighting a different monster all the time. Then Kamen Rider was also like that, but then they changed up their game. They actually added story elements to it. They actually added, like, it's a flow. Like, you cannot watch episode 20 and not knowing what happened in episode 1. You have to watch every single one. It was, I guess you call it serialized. Is that what the word? So you had to continue on. Ultraman tried that just one time in a series, and it's called Ultraman Nexus. So Ultraman Nexus was a darker tone. It was not a monster per day. I mean, it did have that element too, but it was connected. Each episode was connected. If you watch episode 10 out of the blue, you wouldn't know what the heck was going on. You had to watch it from the beginning, just to catch up to what is going on. And so for the most part, that series was along that route. However, it didn't do well in Japan. The kids and it wasn't that great in terms of I guess the nostalgia factor, and it was kind of like Superman, when people didn't like Man of Steel because they kept thinking about Christopher Reeve. Well, they looked at Ultraman Nexus, they kept thinking, it should be more like the original Ultraman. It's just one monster a day, light tone, colorful, and just fight the monster. It doesn't have all these other storylines we have to follow. They just want to cut. And so that's what happened, and it didn't do well. In fact, it didn't do well that they canceled a lot of the episodes. They shortened the series down to like 20-something episodes when it should have been like 50, and did it do well? And then at the same time, Kamen Rider just kept going forward. They says, no, we're just going to keep reinventing Kamen Rider every single series. To a lot of fans who love the original Kamen Rider's dismay, but in the long run, it it outlasted the nostalgia. It honored some of it, but it outlasted. And they continue to reinvent Kamen Rider every single series. It didn't have to go back to the regular Insect Eye and stuff. They had some elements of Kamen Rider, but it didn't have to go there. But Ultraman Suburuya had a scare. It's kind of like DC had a scare, and they said, you know, we gotta go back to nostalgia. So they start bringing back like the original Ultraman. It's part of the same universe. They brought back the original Ultraman cast, Ultra 7, Ultraman Ace, you know, all the Ultraman Taro, and they integrate that into newer episodes, but having that same monster. And then they kind of, but the silver lining is that they actually got their bearings, right? They went back to a little bit of the serialized where there's a connection of a story, yet adding elements of that nostalgia in the same time. And for the most part, it's been pretty good. Ultraman Orb and the other ones were pretty good, and I got to commend them. They stuck on. They got a scare, but they stuck on. And so I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking that's where they're going. That's where DC is going right now. Is that at first they were going full nostalgia mode with Superman Returns. They went full nostalgia. They weren't going to break away from that. But then that didn't work out. So they went a different route. They went the Ultraman Nexus route. They went the darker route, which is actually Ultraman Nexus is my favorite Ultraman series out of all the Ultraman. And that's why I'm called at Nexus Pong. Nexus is for Ultraman Nexus. But a lot of people didn't like it. So they changed it. They went to a different direction. They had Ultraman Max. They had all these other lighter toned Ultraman. But then they found their bearing again. Right? They're combining nostalgia. They went full nostalgia. Then they reeled it back in. Then they combined new and nostalgia to put together. And that's what I think is happening here. That's what our first Justice League movie, when they reshot everything, that was what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the new combined with some nostalgia to not very good effect. It didn't do so well, but I think they're going to continue doing that. You know, unfortunately for a lot of people like me who enjoy the Snyder version, I enjoy the Ultraman Nexus version. I really wish Nexus would have been the next level and they can continue to keep reinventing the game like how Kamen Rider series is doing. So, but I think that's where we are now, and unfortunately for a lot of like Snyder fans, we won't be able to have our love for it as much as we could probably later on when we get the bearing of what they're trying to do. Is that combining new and old and trying to meld it together like how Krypton is right now. It's combining new. It has that Man of Steel element to it, but it has that nostalgia factor of Christopher Reeve's Superman in it. And I think they're going to continue doing that. You know, I think they're going to continue doing that, and hopefully it melds a little bit better if that's what they're really doing. It just, to me, in my opinion, is what I'm seeing. In my opinion, I'm comparing it to how the Ultraman series is doing and how the Kamen Rider, rather than how the Kamen Rider series are doing. So that's my own opinion. And if you don't know any of those Ultraman, Kamen Rider, if you're interested, look them up, Ultraman and Kamen Rider. All right, guys. Well, what do you guys think about the news about the Aquaman test screenings? Do you believe in any word of it, or are you still excited like how I am? Still excited to see what's next for the DC Extended Universe coming down in December? Do you think there's going to be anything at WonderCon? I hope there is. And what do you think about Snyder releasing another Mera clue to the Snyder cut? Maybe, hopefully, crossing my fingers for it. And then what do you guys think about Krypton? Did you guys watch Krypton pilot? And how do you think, do you believe what, I mean, do you have any opinion to what I've said here? Like how they're trying to really meld two different, like the old and the new together. Is that going to work? Is it going to work like how Ultraman has worked after a 3 or 4 series? It took a while, but I think they found their bearing, and I hope DC Extended Universe or DC Universe, whatever you want to call it, finds their footing as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.